law enforcement resources parents who were protesting at school boards, not just for violence or threats of violence, but for what it said, or for what the Attorney General just 5 days later said were other forms of intimidation and harassment. That memo was sent to the FBI, U.S. Attorney's offices, the National Security Division, the Criminal Division, and the Civil Rights Division. Were you involved in creating the October 4th memorandum from the Attorney General directing law enforcement to target parents at school boards?
Thank you, Senator Cotton. The October 4th memorandum that your question refers to was, as the Attorney General has said, about violence and threats of violence against school workers.
Ms. Heinzelman, our time is limited here, and I asked a simple question. I know what the memorandum says. It also talks about intimidation and harassment. Were you involved in creating that memorandum?
Senator, in my role as Chief Counsel to the Attorney General, with regard to matters that came before the Attorney General, I generally had visibility into most matters that came before the Attorney General. This, as the Attorney General has said, was a memo that he issued. This is his memo.
So were you personally involved in that matter or not? You gave a general answer. I want a specific answer about this memo.
Senator, I want to be as forthcoming with you as I can be. When matters come before the Attorney General, my role—
I'm not talking about matters. I'm talking about this matter, this specific memo. Were you involved in creating this memo with your boss, Merrick Garland?
Generally, my role in matters that came before the Attorney General is to do any of a variety of things. I might sit in on a meeting.
So I take it you're not going to give me an answer to that question then, since you've not answered it now repeatedly. Senator,
I would like to be as transparent with you as possible, but I hope you'll understand.
Well, there's no reason that you can't. I mean, I'm not asking you what advice you gave. This is not a legal case. This is a policy decision. You were a counselor to the Attorney General, and you don't want to answer it.
Senator, with regard to matters that came before the Attorney General, most matters that came before the Attorney General, I would have visibility on it. That could range from setting up a meeting, attending a meeting, advising him on associated statements or actions, and I hope you'll understand the need for the Attorney General to receive confidential advice. But with regard to most matters that the AG was personally involved in, and in this matter he certainly was, this was his memo, I would have some visibility into it at a minimum.
What about the U.S. Marshals in Portland? The courthouse in Portland in the summer of 2020 was under attack by left-wing street militias. Now left-wing activist groups have been suing the Marshals who bravely defended it. The department has hung out to dry 4 deputy U.S. Marshals. They're not paying to represent them in those lawsuits. Were you involved in the decision not to represent those Marshals in those lawsuits?
Senator, I understand your concern about this matter. The Department of Justice has as a core value that it, and it works through its civil division and the U.S. Attorney's offices to defend officers who are acting within the scope of their duties. My understanding is that the department is defending many officers.
They're defending 70, but I didn't ask about the 70, I asked about the 4. I assume you're familiar with the parable of the lost sheep. Shepherd left 99 to go get the 1 because he wanted to save the 1. I'm worried about the 4. I'm not worried about the 70.
I understand, Senator. My understanding is that generally these decisions about representation, either having the Justice Department represent or pay for representation, they are made pursuant to departmental regulations, and the division that primarily works on those matters is the civil division and or the U.S. Attorney's offices, who are the subject matter experts on those matters. Okay, so no answer on that one either. I assume we're not going to get an answer if you were involved in the cancellation of the China initiative? Senator, one of the areas that I focus on in particular for the Attorney General is national security matters. I would advise him on national security matters. With regard to the China initiative, the department's position on that is public, and Attorney General Olson has made his decision on that matter clear. I'm happy to address it in more detail. Okay, so that's the 3rd case in which we won't get an answer on that. My time's up. I just want to observe, I disagree with what Senator Burr and Senator King said, that
that you in this role or your office is going to be this mythical, heroic lawyer telling rogue officers and directors that they cannot take action that is illegal. I think it's much more likely that senior leadership in the CIA or at the National Security Council will ask you to provide legal cover for actions they don't want to take that are perfectly legal. So they probed it. Would you stand up to someone and say this is illegal? I want to know if an action or policy is legal, but you've been told that that the agency or the administration doesn't want to take it. Will you give your best legal advice that it is illegal? You're making a policy decision.
Senator, as a lawyer, I view it as my primary responsibility to give my best legal advice, my most candid, forthright legal advice based on the facts and the law on any matter. That is what I've done in my current job, in my past jobs, and that is what I would do if confirmed to this position.
Even if you know that superiors at the CIA or the NSC do not want to pursue that course of action, will you still give them the advice that that course of action is legal if they choose to pursue it?
Senator, I would always give my best legal advice, regardless of what a client, what outcome I believe the client wants to get to, if I'm understanding the question correctly. I view it as my duty to give them my straight view on the law and on the facts of a given matter.
Well, I mean, my concern, I mean, there's some people on the front lines in the agency, or for that matter in other departments like the Department of Defense, think that lawyers are always looking for a way to get to know, especially if it's an aggressive operation or policy. I'm as concerned that lawyers are being directed to get to know by policymakers above them, but my time is up.
I think the witness that I understand, I apologize for having to step out briefly for a meeting. I heard when asked questions about saying, see something illegal, will you